don't have to accept an offer if it's below the price that you need to get for your home or what you had in mind. There's really risk or additional cost to you as a seller. Terms are not acceptable to you. You don't have to move forward with it. Buyer doesn't have the proper financing, or they didn't go through the proper procedures prior to getting under contract, thorough review of their financing. So this is something that you can definitely do. Hey, what's happening, friends? As we've been talking about for a while now, market in 2025 is slower year to date than it was in 2024. And a big question for sellers is, with all the additional inventory and all of the buyer apprehension that's out there in the market, what can I do to sell my property faster to ensure that I have a smooth sale when I do go on market? Because even though inventory is higher than it's been in really the last 3 or 4 years, it is still historically a low inventory market. But because of all of the things that are going on in the macro economy and the buyer apprehension that's out there, it definitely feels a lot slower, and the average days on market has risen compared to years past and what people are used to. And so we're going to go through 5 ways that you can sell your house faster in 2025, because there are some things that you can do outside of the normal marketing channels and the kind of things, open houses and the kind of things that realtors are normally going to tell you about. There's definitely some things, some insider tips that you can do to create a little bit more transparency, a little bit more insurance for buyers, and ensure that your house does sell faster and make it more marketable to a buyer who is apprehensive and unsure about which home to choose or whether or not they want to go into contract with your home. And so the first one is we got to make sure that we know exactly what the condition of the property is, right? And this is something that normally doesn't happen till after you get under contract, but doing a pre-inspection is a really good way to do an examination of your property, see all of the condition issues that are a part of it, and it gives you the opportunity to do a couple of different things. The first one is it's going to identify any key issues that potentially become deal breakers for a buyer and give you the opportunity to fix those things, right? If there's some maintenance issues that got to be addressed, you can fix those things, take care of them. And then if a buyer does their own inspection when they get under contract, those aren't things that are going to come up as deal breakers or negotiating points, which then can take away from your bottom line if you have to do credits or conduct repairs during the inspection period. And it really allows you, the biggest thing here is it allows you to do a really thorough seller's disclosure, right? So when you do a seller's disclosure, you can then attach a pre-home inspection to it and show a buyer exactly what the issues are and give them some confidence when they make an offer that they're not going to run into a bunch of surprises when you get into escrow. And it gives them a lot more confidence, creates a lot more transparency, and it just makes buyers feel a lot better when maybe they're choosing between 3 homes. If yours is the one that has the most amount of information, the most amount of transparency, the most amount of disclosure, they may go with yours because it makes them feel better and there's less unknowns by going under contract with your property. So the first one is get a pre-inspection done. The second one is complete a property survey. This is another standard practice that you do after you open escrow, but there's no reason why you can't do this prior to. And again, just eliminates unknowns, right? You get the survey done, you know where the boundary issues are, you get a survey map that shows you that there are no encroachment issues, no setback issues, just things that come up during the escrow process, which can cause road bumps and additional objections from a buyer. So getting a survey done prior to going on market is a really, really good idea, unless you're going to make any type of changes like adding a fence or anything like that around your boundary. If anything's going to be the same, it really is a way to prevent any kind of last minute disputes, especially because surveys usually don't happen until you're pretty deep into the escrow process, and it can be a surprise that comes up and gives buyers something to be concerned about. So you can wipe that off the table right off the top by completing a property survey prior to going on market. All right, number three is to conduct a termite inspection. In Hawaii, again, one of the other inspections that happens standard through the process is you get a termite inspection, and this is something that you can do. It's about $300. It's not very expensive, but you can show a buyer that, look, there are no termite issues. We've got an inspection done. It's not something you have to ask for in the contract. And if there are any issues, if you do have an infestation, it'll allow you to then treat that infestation, address those issues before you go under contract. So it's something that doesn't come up during the escrow process and cause any type of delays or apprehensions amongst the buyer because they didn't know about it. So doing a termite inspection up front before you go on market is great. You can attach that to your seller's disclosure, attach that to the listing, and show a buyer that you have a clean termite inspection, or if you didn't, that you've already conducted treatment and solved the issues. So there's nothing that they have to worry about going forward. So it's a really good idea. If you're looking to relocate here on the Big Island, I want to share with you a resource that we put together. Over 80 agents from my team, expert agents here on the Big Island, put together a relocation guide that will help you evaluate all of the important factors that you want to take into account before you move here to the Big Island. School districts, healthcare, employment, all of the things that you got to think about, we put into one home buyer's guide that will help you figure out what is best when you start this relocation process here to the Big Island. So if you want this guide, just click on the link below, fill out the form. We will send you the guide for free. And if you want to take the next steps and have a conversation with us, we'd be happy to help. All right, number 4. This is one that you hear about a lot, and a lot of times it's negotiated in the purchase contract. But if you offer an interest rate buy down, you can definitely quell some of the fears that buyers have right now about the high interest rates and the high monthly cost that entails for them. And so what you can do is right off the bat from your marketing to say, hey, we're going to offer a $10,000, $20,000 credit to buy down the buyer's interest rate. And that can significantly reduce a buyer's monthly cost when you do that by hundreds of dollars. And so it can really make a buyer that is apprehensive about that high monthly cost, give them a little bit more confidence, make it a little bit easier for them to make that payment, and potentially help them qualify for a higher loan amount. So this is an important thing that you can do right up front as part of your marketing, is offer that buy down right up front. This can be significantly more financially advantageous to a buyer than lowering your purchase price, right? So instead of lowering your purchase price, offer a credit. The net benefit back to you as a seller is pretty much the same, but this is a way to really directly benefit a buyer by reducing their monthly costs, by reducing their interest rate. And there's a bunch of different programs. Lenders can go through this with a buyer and figure out what the best credit is for them, what the best way to use that credit is. But this is a great way to upfront show something that is different about your property versus others, because not everybody will be offering this upfront, and you don't have to wait to the point of them making offers to negotiate it. And it removes any kind of unknown, like, hey, I wonder if the buyer would offer me a credit. I got to make the offer first and then negotiate it. Just offer it up front, take that right off the table, and give buyers an incentive to choose your house over competing homes that they may also be looking at. All right, number 5. And this is one that is not very common, but this is very, very important in today's market if you want to ensure a smooth process, right? If you want to ensure that you're choosing the right buyer and that they have solid financing, is get your listing agent to verify the buyer's financing early. And one way they can do this is if your listing agent, like we do, have a trusted lending partner that can do a additional just review of the buyer's finances and ensure that when they come with a pre-qualification letter, they actually have verified documents, they've done some underwriting, and it allows you to have some confidence that the buyer that you choose can definitely close based on the financing that they're offering in their offer. And so this is something that can definitely reduce the possibility of a escrow canceling because a buyer doesn't have the proper financing or they didn't go through the proper procedures prior to getting under contract, thorough review of their financing. So this is something that you can definitely do prior to accepting an offer, is have the buyer's finances reviewed by a lender that you trust, or definitely one that your listing agent trusts, because it can give you more confidence going into escrow that's going to be smooth and you're not going to have any issues with the buyer not being qualified and potentially falling out of escrow. So those are 5 things you can definitely do to sell your home faster and ensure that you have a smooth process once you get under contract. But I got one bonus tip for you guys, and this is a bonus option. This is something that we've been using a lot lately with a lot of success. Is we have this platform called USA Home Bids, and what it does basically is, if you think about, hey, why do we even set a listing price, right? At the end of the day, the market value is what a buyer is willing to pay. And what this program does is you basically market the property as an auction. And the great thing about this is you create a lot of attention because you list the price at significantly lower than market value, and a lot of times like 50% what the market value would be. And then you create a whole marketing program around that, scheduled open houses, email blasts, additional marketing that draws a lot of attention to that listing. You get the maximum amount of attention to it in the first week or two. And then you start a bidding process where you accept bids from buyers who are wanting to make an offer on your property. That's a public, you can't see who made the bid, but you can see what the bid amount is. And that way other buyers can see, hey, I would pay more than that, and they continue to bid the price up. And at the end of this process, you as the seller would then review what the bids are and ask the buyers who have submitted those bids to submit an official offer. And at that point, you can do some additional negotiation, but you are not compelled to accept any offer. You don't have to accept an offer if it's below the price that you need to get for your home or what you had in mind. But in a lot of cases, we end up getting a higher price than what we would originally list for because of the additional marketing excitement that this process causes. And so it's something definitely that's innovative, that's new, that you don't see very often. But if you want to get your home sold quickly, if you want to ensure you have offers within 7 to 10 days, this is one way you can definitely do that. And there's really no risk or additional cost to you as a seller, because if it doesn't work out and you don't get a bid amount that's acceptable, or someone does not submit a contract that is acceptable, the terms are not acceptable to you, you don't have to move forward with it. You're not compelled to accept any offer below or terms that are not acceptable to you. So it's a really great option, a good advantage that you can have as a seller to create additional excitement and really get the highest price possible. So in this market, when things are a little bit slower and you have a little bit more competition, you have to be innovative and do some additional things, maybe even incur some cost up front in order to make the rest of the process smoother. But these are 5 things and potentially a 6th that you can do to sell your house faster in 2025, or really in any market, but definitely in a slow market, this can make a huge difference. So if you have any questions about this, or you want to discuss any of these options in further detail, you can always book a meeting with me. There's a link in the description below to my calendar, or you can email me at dylan@buybigisland.com. Happy to have a discussion with you, go through all of these options and let you know, especially if you're looking to buy or list here in the state of Hawaii, how we can help you do that and get your home sold for the highest price possible with the shortest amount of time and the least amount of stress. So as always, appreciate you guys watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next week. Aloha.